Hi, very good morning, everyone. Welcome to the virtual classes. So, in the last session, we were discussing about Module 3 Income Recognition and Asset Classification Norms. I hope all of you understood the basics and few important things about the income recognition and asset classification norms. In today's session, we will discuss on very important topic non-performing asset. In the last session itself, I explained you the meaning of non-performing assets and different types of non-performing assets. So in today's session, we will understand what and all the things we can do to tackle the non-performing assets. Okay. Uh, I explained this in a previous class itself, but still, just to brush up, I am explaining this again. Non-performing assets means it is a loan given to the public. If that loan amount is not recovered till the 90 days, okay, for that we call non-performing asset. That means the loan is not recovered, the principal or interest, any amount, it is not recovered, okay, even after 90 days or more than that. For that we call non-performing asset. So non-performing asset is a loan or advance for which the principal or interest payment remained overdue for a period of 90 days or more than that. Then I also explained about these sub-classifications of non-performing asset. There are standard asset, substandard asset, okay, and other loss assets, doubtful assets. Standard assets means it is for any loan if interest or principal amount is overdue for 90 days or more than 90 days, for that we call standard asset. That means it is standard non-performing asset if it is due for more than 90 days. Then substandard means it is due for 12 months. That means it is due for a 1 year. For that we call substandard assets non-performing asset. Okay, it is substandard non-performing asset. It is due for more than 90 days and within a year, 12 months. Now doubtful debts. Doubtful debts means it is non-performing asset which is due almost till the 3 years. Actually here it is mentioned 18 months, it is uh, 3 years. And loss asset, that means it is more than 3 years. If any amount is due for more than 3 years, for that we call loss asset. For this loss asset you can also say it is bad debts. Doubtful debts, you know the meaning. So in the last session we also understood these causes of non-performing assets. So willful defaulters, that means intentionally they will take loans, they will not repay. Industrial crisis, so like corona, so now all the industries they are having financial crisis, or any natural calamities, so that is industrial crisis. Ineffective recovery tribunals, there were recovery tribunals, but they are not that much efficient. They are ineffective. Then natural calamities like earthquake, floods, volcanoes, lack of demand. Sometimes due to lack of demand, they may not able to recover. Then a defective lending process. Lending process, there must be a proper system. Okay, they must follow a particular system while lending. If there is any defects in that, so it increases non-performing asset. Then lenient lending norms, that means giving more leniency while lending, that means without asking for even a pay slip or any surety or anything for a security purpose as a deposit. So without asking anything, if we are lending loans, that increases our non-performing assets. So these are the reasons for non-performing asset. Why non-performing assets are going to increase means these are the reasons. So in today's session, we need to understand the various steps taken by the government to tackle the non-performing assets. So the first step taken by the government is debt recovery tribunals. They formed debt recovery tribunals. Tribunals, it is like court. Okay, usually earlier when there were cases related to non-performing asset, so all the cases used to be solved in a civil courts, and we all know that it takes more time, long time to solve a cases in a civil courts. So that is why, just to cut short the time, okay, just to solve the cases as soon as possible quickly, they formed this debt recovery tribunals. Basically this is to decrease the time required for settling the cases, and they are governed by the provisions of the Recovery of Debt Due to the Banks and Financial Institutions Act 1993. Second point is Credit Information Bureau. So nowadays, to take any loan, whether it is a car loan, personal loan, okay, house loan, the first thing they will check is your CIBIL score. CIBIL stands for Credit Information Bureau of India Limited, CIBIL. Okay, so that agency gives complete information about individuals' credit worthiness. That means whether he is a solvent or a insolvent. Solvent means what? Having a capability to repay the debt. Insolvent means is incapable to repay his debt, is not capable. So this agency, it gives complete information to all the banks about the individuals. So whether that person taken any loan previous to that, okay, and if he has taken loan, how he made the payment, he made correctly, or he had any bounce cases. So like that, it gives complete details in terms of points. Okay, if your CIBIL score is 800 plus, it is okay, good. It is below that, then it becomes a problem. So many banks, they don't give loans. Next, Lok Adalats 2001. In this Lok Adalats, actually this is also, it's kind of court. Okay, this institution also used to solve the cases related to non-performing asset, but the only drawback related to this Lok Adalat is it can take up the cases only if the amount is less than 5 lakh rupees, and that is the only drawback about this. So they're helpful in tackling and recovery of small loans. However, they are limited up to 5 lakh rupees loans only, and this guidelines is given by the RBI. Next point is compromise settlement. This is one beautiful concept. Okay, in this concept, it is easiest way to settle the problems related to non-performing asset. Just a compromise. Just call up the person who had taken the loan and the bank persons. Both sit together and they will talk. They will come to a compromise. Okay, maybe bank may reduce the interest rate. Sometimes bank may say, okay, don't pay the interest, pay the principal. Okay, so they will come to one easiest conclusion by compromising. For that we call compromise settlement. uh, it provides a simple mechanism for recovery of non-performing assets, in a simple words. And here it is also restricted below 10 crore rupees loan. Okay, if there is any non-performing asset and the amount of that is below 10 crore, then they can go for a compromise settlement. If it is above 10 crore, they cannot do that. Next, Surface Act 2002. uh, This act, the securitization and reconstruction of financial assets and enforcement of security interest. This act permits the bank's financial institutions to recover their non-performing assets without the involvement of the court. Okay, so this is one good thing. If we involve the court, okay, it drags like anything, it takes long time. So that is why it is giving more rights to the banks. You can collect, you can recover your non-performing assets, okay, you can recover your loan amount without the interference of the court. For that they brought this act called Surface Act 2002. And another step taken is asset reconstruction companies, ARCs. It is very famous. Okay, so ARCs, asset reconstruction companies. What they will do with this? Basically, the RBI gave license to 14 new ARCs recently after the amendment of the Surface Act in 2002. What they did is, it is like an agreement. Imagine there is a Vijaya Bank. Now it is Bank of Baroda. Okay, Bank of Baroda. They gave loan to me. Okay, and after taking loan, it is 3 months over, 1 year over, 3 years over. I was not paid even a single rupee to the bank. Okay, I had taken imagine some 10 lakh rupees loan. In that case, what happens? They will consider that as a non-performing asset. Okay, and they consider it as a loss asset. After that, these asset reconstruction companies may purchase this non-performance assets. Okay, non-performing assets they can purchase. Once they purchase it, it is just an agreement. For example, 10 lakh rupees. Now it is the job of that asset reconstruction company to recover. Okay, because they purchased for that 10 lakh rupees, they may paid some 8 lakh rupees to the Bank of Baroda, and they said, you don't worry. Okay, I will pay you some 8 lakh rupees and I recover the 10 lakh rupees from that person. So Bank of Baroda, anyhow they will accept it because they don't have any option. Already it is, they decided it is a bad loan, that means they cannot recover it in future. Correct. So that is why something is better than nothing. That is why they will accept it. So by paying 8 lakh to the Bank of Baroda, these asset reconstruction companies, they collect 10 lakh from my side. So that 2 lakh is a profit for these companies. So this is how they work, asset reconstruction companies. Okay, so they purchase the non-performing assets of different banks, then later they will recover. Okay, so that's the job of these ARCs. Next step is corporate debt restructuring. So this corporate debt restructuring act, again, it is to for reducing the burden of the debts on the company by decreasing the rates paid and increasing the time the company has to pay the obligation back. So it is like a simple concept just to reduce the burden for the companies. Okay, they brought this concept called corporate debt restructuring. So just restructuring everything, that means giving more time for the repayment of the debt, converting it to more installments. Okay, lesser amount, giving more time. They made this concept. And next step taken is joint lenders forum. That means it is like a group of banks. All the public sector banks, they joined together. They formed a group. For that they called joint lender forums. In 2014, it was created by the inclusion of all the public sector banks whose loans have become stressed. Stressed means, for example, it is non-performing asset. Okay, it is going to be non-performing asset. So all these banks came together and they formed a group. For that they called it is joint lenders forum. And what is the benefit of this group, this forum? The benefit of this forum is they can share their customers information. For example, I am taken loan in a Bank of Baroda and I have not paid it. Okay, now when I'm going to apply for the another loan in SBI, that Bank of Baroda fellow, he will share that information to the SBI. This fellow already taken loan from my side and he has not paid anything, so don't give them loan, so that banks can minimize the non-performing assets. Correct. So that is how it works, and it is useful. Joint lenders forum, it is useful absolutely. And another step is Mission Indradhanush. It was taken up in 2015. Many students, they will get confused with Indradhanush. Indradhanush, there is a scheme related to health. Okay, but now I am speaking about this Mission Indradhanush scheme. It is related to public sector banks. They came up with some 7 goals. Okay, some 7 important points, and they tried to use that. See, by this diagram you can easily understand by this table. The 7 points agenda is, one is bank board bureau. So just they set up that bank board bureau, then capitalization, then de-stressing, empowerment, and performance, then reforms. The first one is appointments of the board members. Okay, CEOs, MD, how to appoint. It gives some procedure. It is basically, it's like some rules and regulations that tells to all the banks to follow. So by that they can minimize their non-performing assets. So mission Intradhanush, it is basically related to public sector undertaking banks and to maintain their health of the public sector banks. Okay, so these are the various steps taken by the government to tackle the non-performing asset. So I hope we discussed everything related to non-performing assets in a short time. I explained very briefly. Okay, I just wanted to make you understand the concept. What is non-performing asset? What are the reasons for non-performing asset? And what are the steps taken by government to tackle the non-performing asset? And a few different forms of non-performing asset. Okay, this is what you understood, and I'm sure this much is enough. Thank you so much. Have a nice day. I hope all of you understood this concept. If you have any doubts, please text me.